get into it. We are here. It is the Devils you know, and you are gonna know these Devils for sure because they're not Devils at all. This is a special episode. We're gonna talk about how Mario Lemieux was stolen from the New Jersey Devils. The year Kirk Muller, former captain, wonderful Devil, was part of the 95 Cup by being traded for Stefan Richer and Tom Chorsky. Was it Stefan Richer and Tom Chorsky? Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys. But Tom Chorsky, a friend of the show, by the way. Let's just make sure he knows that. Thank you, Tom. I feel like my program isn't working properly today, but either way, we're gonna watch Playing to Lose. This is a TSN documentary about how the Pittsburgh Penguins tanked their season so they could get the first pick and get Mario Lemieux. Now, the real team in this season that was the worst by far was the New Jersey Devils. So they were on pace, no question, and this is before we even watched this. They were on pace to be the first, get the first overall pick. The Devils would have had Mario. Now, should we talk about it an hour later? Not even did, but is it a good, would we have gotten Brodeur? Would things would have changed, right, with Mario Lemieux? So the Devils might not have had the same pick in the 90 draft to get Brodeur, but then again, Trevor Kidd was picked earlier. I have both the rookie cards right next to each other in my book. It's kind of funny to see. What could have happened, but with Mario Lemieux, who was, the Devils had a different, and I've been trying to tell people about this. The Devils had a different way of going about things. They weren't a team like Pittsburgh, and it worked for them. They had Mario Lemieux, and they built around him, and then they won 2 Stanley Cups, 91, 92. The Devils didn't. They got Kirk Muller, who was a great guy, but he isn't Mario Lemieux. He's not even close. He shines Mario Lemieux's shoes, and thanks him for it, for letting him do it. But the Devils were a different kind of team. You could say Brodeur was a star, but he wasn't a known. They drafted Brodeur, they drafted Niedermeyer, knowing he was going to be good. But if you look at his pre-draft, all that stuff, he wasn't. No one was going crazy over Niedermeyer. It wasn't like Niedermeyer mania. So those, that was one of the Devils' high picks. But who knows what picks they would have got if they had Mario Lemieux, and would they have taken the route of the Penguins and built around the Mario? And the Penguins did it in such a great fashion with the Kevin Stevens story is very sad. If you've seen it, he's not doing well, and he hasn't been for many years. But the guys that Yager, of course, all these guys that they put around him. Zubov, and the defense is just a classic team, a classic Penguins team. You can't deny. It's to me much more exciting and fun to watch than Crosby, Malkin, and Fleury. The Penguins had a bunch of goalies. The Penguins went through some goalies. Anyway, so let's watch this. We're going to talk about goalies actually, because one of the things they did was throw their goalie to the minors.
Who did something underhanded to get a chance to draft Mario Lemieux.
Let's go back here. Let's start this over. You ready? Let's do this, guys. And if you're listening, just listen carefully.
Premier choix de Pittsburgh, number 66.
Mario Lemieux.
Ever since I was a little kid, they teach you to win at all costs, to win. Everything is to win.
And people look at you as the guy who did something underhanded to get a chance to draft Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
What is tanking?
You have to do what's best for your franchise.
This thing ever blows up in our face, we're going to never live this down.
Here it is.
The foundation of our games is winning and losing. And trying your best is the bricks and mortar of our games. 30 years ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins came to the counterintuitive conclusion that you could actually win for losing, at least when a once-in-a-generation player was the reward.
Yeah.
The two main characters in the story are Eddie Johnston, former Bruins goalie, who was the Pittsburgh Penguins general manager, and Luann Gotti, the first captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, who was the Pittsburgh coach. They were good hockey people and honorable hockey men, inclined personally and professionally to do the right thing. In 1984, the question was, what exactly is the
Those
right
Penguins
thing?
jerseys look great, though. Playing to lose, guys. This is TSN, okay? This isn't some random guy on the internet.
1983-84, Laval, Quebec. Mario Lemieux was indisputably Mario the Magnificent, rampaging to 282 points in 70 games.
Look at that. Look at
The
that
greatest
stick.
show on skates. He
So
was a
much
lock
better
to be
than
chosen
Gretzky to
first
me.
in
I
the
mean, I just
NHL
love
draft.
watching Lemieux. That's just my opinion on
I told our owner, Mr. DeBarro, I said, this is a player that comes around once in a lifetime.
I was intrigued enough just to see who he might be, but I had no idea what I was going to see.
Everybody saw this young kid coming out of Quebec that was so highly rated and breaking scoring record setter, out of this world.
The reports on him were so unbelievable. You really couldn't grasp that somebody could be this good. Those are the kinds of things you were hearing, but you knew who Mario was. And that's when you said, my God. I think those were the two words that came to mind when you saw Mario when you played, my God.
it. Yeah.
While Lemieux was skating circles around the Q, Pittsburgh was unraveling. The team, yes, but also the city. The steel mills were closing.
Now this is like a point that I would talk about maybe another time. Both times that the Penguins happened to either cheat like they did here to get Mario Lemieux, or all of a sudden like win the lottery and get Fleury, Malkin, and Crosby. Both times were right around the time where the team was about to probably be sold and move to another city. So ironic is the word.
Economy was wretched. The Penguins were ripe for relocation.
This is the time when the Penguins were averaging 6,000 people.
It wasn't fun getting booed off the ice.
We were an unbelievably bad team. It was a very, very difficult year, torturous in many ways in terms of watching how it affected the people who were trying to win, and nothing but bad results were coming.
I can honestly say right now we were a minor league team. We were a minor league team playing in the NHL.
You know, I can remember times when we'd go to the game and we'd see people in the stands like with bags over their heads. So it was not an easy way to break into the league.
The commitment to winning wasn't always there in the dressing room, I can assure you that.
Usually when a team struggles like that, you fire the coach. There was nothing like that gonna happen. We were the comical team of the NHL. We were a joke, us and New Jersey.
There you go.
In 1984, if you finished last, you picked first. So the stage was set for a potential race to the bottom between the Devils and Penguins, pitting the incompetent against the inexcusable. The hapless franchises had combined for 35 wins the previous season, and rumors abounded that Pittsburgh was ready to show the league just how low it could go.
Whatever they were doing, if they were,
Devils
that's
coach
their business.
Tom
But
McVay.
I wasn't going to get involved in that.
It was a sweepstakes in the Pittsburgh press. And they'd have a picture of us, and they'd have a picture of New Jersey, and here's the point spread, here's the point spread, here's what we got to do.
Both teams were out of the playoffs by
And the
Christmas
Devils
time.
were not involved in doing any of this stuff.
We tried. We brought everybody in, give everybody a chance. It's not like we finished 20 points below them. I think it was like 3 or 4 points or something.
As professional players, I mean, it was a
They
little
were
bit
really
frustrating
actually a bad
because, you know,
team.
we're trying our heart out, but we just don't have a good team. It's not like You got to win 5 games and you make the playoffs. It's like you got to lose 5 games and we got Mario Lemieux.
I mean, these
I
guys
couldn't
are
go in the
admitting it
dressing room
right to our face.
and say, look, I know that you've given me everything you got. You've been blocking shots. You've been doing everything to win. But these last 5 games, I come in and say, well, don't try so hard. I couldn't do that.
That's Tom McVie, Devils coach, and I
The
love
Devils
to
played
hear
it
that.
straight. Playing a little...
Hear that again.
The Devils played it straight. Playing a little old-time, if not especially good, hockey.
Oh.
The Penguins, well, they were not merely defensively challenged, but ethically challenged.
Oh.
Eddie said that, you know, if we do this, there's a very good chance that you and I will lose our jobs.
This meaning tank to get the pick on purpose. Cheat. Playing to lose.
There's about 30-plus games left, and Eddie said, you know, we have to make a conscious decision as to what we can do, and he said the only thing we can do is we gotta get Mario Lemieux.
There it is. I mean, that's not the end of the document.
They're doing one thing. They're getting through the year to try to have a shot at Mario Lemieux.
Because they know once he comes onto the ice, they're
Without a prayer of making the playoffs, the Penguins engaged in a string of moves that, well, for the moment anyway, we'll call them curious.
Listen to this.
There was always suspicion that Eddie Johnston was going to do some things with his management of the team to get that pick if he could.
The whole process started when we got rid of Randy Carlyle. He was the face of our organization. He was our team captain. 2 years before, he won the Norris. When you put him up for trade, you expect to get a ton back. You know what? We didn't get a lot back.
You got a first-round pick and a player to be named later, so you traded your best player and get nothing back immediately in return.
Mo Mantha was the player that we eventually got. We didn't want him until the season was over because we didn't want to strengthen our team.
So trading your best player was all part of the process.
Yeah, yes it was, right.
It was actually pretty, a depressing time at the time, and you're trying to question, what's the team, trying to do here.
Not too often do you see Norris Trophy winning defenseman
And that's
trade.
a goalie you remember.
Well, we just
they're
felt
gonna
we had a
drop
chance to
him
pick
into
up a
the
couple
minors.
players, and we weren't going no place at that particular time, and we needed players.
Incredibly, the Penguins had 48 players on their roster in 83-84, enough to field almost 3 teams, albeit not any good ones.
There were 48 different Pittsburgh Penguins in 83-84.
Were there that many?
Did you need names?
Yeah, I think it was probably the first team in NHL history where we had to walk around with our name tags.
Hello, my name is Roberto.
That's right, yeah. Where you're from, where
These
you
guys are
played,
not-
basically,
they
because
don't
it
care
was
to-
like
they're
a
not
revolving
gonna
door. The players were
pretend it
coming
didn't
in and out, and
They screwed
they
us,
tried
guys.
everything, everyone.
We had 2 defensemen, I'm not going to mention their names, were drafted, and either one of them could only turn one way.
I know we went in there one night to play, and
I remember putting
went
that
out to the
clip up.
warm-up, and it looked like an American Hockey League team to me.
And they're... these days,
Roberto
they're
Romano
hockey
had the
teams
look
aren't
of the
that
Penguins' goalie of the future, but he wasn't going to be the goalie of the present. Late in the season, Romano committed the faux pas of putting together a series of strong starts.
You had a goalie,
Can't do
Roberto
that.
Romano,
Yeah.
put together a nice little run.
Yeah.
What happened to Roberto Romano?
Well, nothing really happened to him, but we ended up, we sent him down to Baltimore with the idea of helping him, and then again weaken our team.
I remember Roberto Romano, young goalie, playing very well for us, and he's winning, and then all of a sudden he gets sent to the minors, and there's questions in the dressing room like, why would you send a guy that's winning?
I was okay with it at the time because I hated to lose, and when I was with the Penguins, we weren't winning too often.
We brought up a player,
That's
Tremblay,
nice for him.
the goaltender.
It's all I remembered is and hearing that this guy was delivering milk somewhere. I swear, that's all I remember, that this guy was a milkman somewhere and he was coming in to to get us some wins at the end of the season.
Was that Vincent Tremblay?
Vincent Tremblay,
I
the
believe it
milkman.
was.
He used to challenge a shooter with his glove closed.
I bet Penguins fans
Instead
don't
of
know about
open.
the milk.
Remember how many games Tremblay played?
No, did he play a handful?
Played 4. His goals against average?
Ooh.
5.6?
Close, 6.0.
Oh.
I think his impact became greater in retrospect when you realized what had happened. He was just another guy who came in. There were a lot of guys on the roster that year, and a lot of guys you really hadn't heard of.
He played, I think, 4 games with us, and it was just, you know, he was as much to help us get Mario Lemieux as anybody did.
He had a goalie win 2 games in a row, Roberto Romano, and he ended up in Baltimore. Why'd you send him
He
down?
denies it.
To be 40 points out of a playoff and think you're going to win one more game and don't finish last, I mean, didn't make any sense to me.
I was thinking more about how embarrassing it would have been for me and Eddie Johnson if we didn't end up in last place. Because that's the thing that always was on my mind, saying, boy, this thing ever blows up in our face, we're gonna never live this down.
Wow. So they sent their best.
The
goalie
Penguins
down
won
to
just
the
3 of their
AHL.
final 21 games, clinching the
3
first
out of
overall
21.
draft pick in the second last game of the season.
They
Did
clinched
the
it.
Penguins tank in 83, 84?
So just say yes.
I don't think the players did. I think they were just,
Yeah, the
Do you
organization.
think management did?
I don't know.
And people look at you as the
What?
guy
He
who
was
did
just
something
admitting it.
underhanded to get a chance to draft Mario Lemieux.
I didn't do any underhand. We just never had the talent.
Eddie Johnson and I did what we thought we had to do to save the franchise. But the thing that bothered
getting
Eddie and
Mario
I
Lemieux. He
a great
admits it.
deal about what we did is the fact that what if it didn't come about? You know, we're going into games that we're not looking to win. That's the worst part. That's the thing that scared me the most.
You were coaching to win, or were you coaching not to win?
We were coaching not to win. You know, I will never deny that. I put
love
my
this guy
fourth
for
line
saying
players out against the other team's first line players. And whenever we got a penalty, I put on players on the ice that normally you wouldn't put them out there to kill a penalty.
I knew what they were doing, sure. The hockey people would come to me after it was all
Tom
over,
McVie.
and they would say, like, look at me with a puzzled look on their face. I mean, big-time hockey men. And they'd say, Tommy, did anyone talk to you about this? I said, no. They were implying that you don't have to win every game till the end of the year, and you'll get Lemieux. That's what they're implying.
We went into a game to play the Rangers, and at the end of the first period, we were leading 3-0.
Wow.
And Eddie came into the coach's office and said to me, what the hell's going on? He said, we're going to blow this whole deal.
Did you ever tell Lou Angotti, big game tonight, make sure we don't win?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't tell anybody that. I would be cheating the fans, and you don't do that. You know, 'cause they'll come back and haunt
Look
you
at
and do
that
stuff.
lie.
Big game tonight, make sure we
Watch
don't win?
his face.
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't tell anybody that. I would be cheating the fans, and you don't do that. You know, 'cause they'll come back and haunt you and do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been haunting.
You can
That's what
see
you're
it, like
talking
Eddie
about.
was on pins and needles. You know, we're up 3-1. He's like thinking, God, guys, we got to lose this game.
Listen to everyone telling the truth, and Eddie Johnson just can't do it.
This is a tale
They
rife
shouldn't-
with
they
winks
shouldn't be
and
allowed
nods.
around this Mario
Johnston has
Lemieux,
never actually admitted that the
wherever
Penguins
they are
tanked.
right now.
He says things like, well, we were trying to do what was best for the franchise.
Yeah, that's...
We're optimistic building that way. That's the only way we're going to improve our hockey.
We revisited Johnston for further clarification.
Lou says that you and he had an understanding about where the season wanted to go. You say there was
Not
no
Lou Lamoriello, by
understanding.
the way. He wasn't with
How
the
do we
Devils at
reconcile?
this point.
Well, when I say there's no understanding, I mean, when we got out completely out of a playoff and we had no place to go, you know, I think what you got to do, you got to look out for your franchise then. I think that's more important. As a general manager, I think it happens in all sports. You know, when you're completely out of it, you know, you got to be thinking that, hey, what's out there for the draft and what's around, and you know.
Yeah, but then they made the
we
trade
needed to
still
turn
had
the
a guy that
franchise
didn't
around
wanna
here,
play.
otherwise
He didn't wanna
we're not
play.
going to get anybody in the building, and we needed a superstar, and Mario was that guy.
there's no one's going to ever admit it. I mean, you don't have to admit it, you just have to look at the roster.
I think when you're a person who spent his entire life as a competitor wanting to win, it's difficult viscerally to admit to anyone that you tried to lose. And yet, by losing, he won.
The players were never involved.
See?
You know, we never called the players into the office, said, look, you know, it's important, we're trying to save the franchise. They knew what was going on, but they were never ever involved.
You hate to lose.
Respect to them for that.
Is it okay to lose if the greater good is acquiring a player like Mario Lemieux?
You know,
No.
it saved their franchise, so was it the right move at the time? Thing is it fair to New Jersey what they did?
No.
I mean, you know, it's not for me to say. I mean, I don't think it's the honest thing to do.
I can't blame the franchise because they were dying.
Did EJ show foresight in what he did because he didn't let this team get stuck in the middle with a high but not high enough draft choice?
If it was maneuvering, it was very intelligent. And he was very astute to establish early that this team was going nowhere, number one, and number two, that somebody could come in that was going to change the face of the franchise.
McVie was fired after the season. 6 years later, he was back behind the Devils' bench. But some fans were still less concerned with victories and defeats than one big lost superstar.
So I was walking around the concourse, and as I was walking around,
late 80s,
you could hear the buzz of, like, Tommy McVie coming, saying to myself, you know, it's pretty good. Like, I'm feeling pretty good that they know who I am, and they think maybe I did a good job. As I'm walking by, I hear one guy say to all the others, there's the son of a bitch that cost us Lemieux.
Isn't that funny? Tom McVie. There's that son of a bitch that cost us Lemieux.
The Pittsburgh Penguins finished with just 38 points last season.
You know we have a long way to go.
Now it's time to do the draft.
At the end of that year, we wanted some kind of prize, some kind of an award for all the grief that we had put up with the whole year. And we wanted that pick really bad.
Now,
by finishing last, the Penguins...
You'll see Mario Lemieux did not go to the podium like every other player did. And they might say it in here, I don't know if I got that info from this or from something else, but his agent was like begging him to please go and put the jersey on down at the podium.
Secured the first pick.
There was much at stake.
He was mad.
It was basically the life of a franchise. This wasn't about necessarily just getting a pick. This was about saving a team.
But after months of scheming to grab Lemieux, the drama was hardly over.
You initiated contract negotiations with the Penguins before the draft. How did they go?
The negotiations went really, really sour. And I was told that you're going to take what we're offering you. And when I heard that, I thought it'd be hypocritical for Mario to go down to the draft table, shake hands, and put on the sweater. I'm advising you not to do it.
Were you nervous the morning of the draft?
Oh, I got it backwards. Okay.
Yeah, you're always nervous, you know. Again, because you weren't sure what, but Dally was going to bring him down. You weren't, you know, and we didn't want to get embarrassed. Premier choix de Pittsburgh, numéro 66, Mario Lemieux.
Oh, there he is.
As soon as Eddie announced his name, Mario stood up from where he was sitting.
Obviously.
Was expected to walk down to the Pittsburgh table, you know, shake hands with Eddie Johnson, put on the Pittsburgh sweater. No, not Mario. He sat down because he was upset with Pittsburgh, all right? And now here comes Albert the scout.
He
Albert
wanted to be a
Mandanici was the
devil.
Penguins' amateur
You heard
scout in
that.
Quebec. He was desperate to get the future franchise player to the table.
He's in front of Mario. He's on his knees. He's begging.
He said, "You have to come to the table, Mario."
I don't think he was literally.
I swear, the guy was crying. Mario, Mario, you have to come down. Mario stared
that
straight
face.
ahead. No way. And his agent, Gus Pedali, stared straight ahead. No way he was going to let Mario walk down to the table. So he sat there in his seat and made an ass of himself.
No, he
The
did
holdout
not.
ended when Lemieux
He
signed
made the
3 days
Penguins-
after the draft.
He made everyone know the Penguins were
Mario
the
told me fairly early in his career was that was his biggest regret.
Sometimes you
Fuck
regret
you.
what you do when you're younger, when you're not mature, but that's the decision that I took at the time, and I'm certainly going to live with it.
Yeah. I think he did the right thing.
9 years
Whatever.
later, after the Ottawa Senators did something similar to land Alexandre Tdyk, the NHL instituted a draft lottery in 1995. But in the bad old days of '84,
That's after the
the
Penguins
league
had 2
simply
cups
turned a
now.
blind eye to the race for Lemieux.
Kirk Muller got one in
Did
Montreal,
EJ game
so
the
don't
system?
forget that.
He took advantage of a system that was in place. The National Hockey League had a system
No, he
that made it possible for you to perhaps position yourself to get the first pick in the draft if you were a terrible team.
We know what happened to Lemieux. 2 Stanley
Lemieux.
Cups, 3 Hart trophies, and 6 Art Ross trophies.
It transformed the franchise and transformed the city, really.
But what about the men who brought Lemieux to the Penguins? If Eddie Johnston had not taken the low road in '83-'84, there would be no hockey in Pittsburgh. Mario proved to be his messiah.
That's what happened.
Johnston was out by 1988. He didn't get to see Lemieux and the Penguins hoist the Stanley Cup in '91, but make no mistake, this was his cup.
I would like to think that EJ was one of the most brilliant GMs that we've ever had around here.
The timing of having Eddie Johnston become general manager of the Penguins, a man who embraced the concept of building through the draft.
They're basically.
He brought that philosophy to the Penguins for the very first time
Well,
in a
it's a
year
good
when
way.
Mario
The
Lemieux was
Devils did
available.
the same thing. They just weren't
If
cheating.
you look back at it now, Eddie Johnson looks like a genius.
He looks like an asshole.
Lou Angotti doesn't have the same pride of place in Penguins history, although he too did his best, or his worst.
In essence, you became the fall guy for what went on in that season.
Well,
You never coached again.
no, I never did, no. There was
He
an
lost
article
his
that
whole
came out of New
career over
York in a
this.
New York paper, I think out of the Islander, said that I was a disgrace to the game and that I
They tanked the team, and then the coach never gets a job again because of the organization. How fucked up is that? They fucked this guy's life up.
should never be allowed to coach again.
That
I
was
never
his
did.
thing.
I never did.
I mean, probably loved to do it. So that's the end of that. That's playing to lose with by TSN, whatever the fuck you want to say about it. It tells you everything. Tells you everything you need to know. Mario Lemieux should have been a devil at the time. Yeah, okay, he might have said, I regret this or this or that or that or this. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is, at the time, he got pissed. He was like, no, I don't think this, I'm mad at the Penguins. I wanted to go to the actual team that I should have gone to. And he's right. If you think he's wrong, let me know. Thanks for watching with me. I'm glad we got to do something a little different. By the way, let's go over the Devils real quick. We'll just go over the Devils. they won again. They had a 2-1 win last night in Utah. So Markstrom was extremely good. Nason scored a goal. Brownie scored a goal. So it was a good game. All around. There's nothing really bad to say. So on with that. Let's keep going. Oh yeah, lied about Gritsuk. Gritsuk's still out. It's now the 20th. So last weekend, like last Friday, they said Gritsuk will be out for the next 2 games, which are the 2 weekend games at 12:30. Yeah, he was out for those. He's also not been back for the 2 wins after, because those are 2 losses, and then now the Devils are 2 wins. So yeah, that's how that goes. Well, that's not how that goes. Yeah, so there's not really much to say about the game last night. They played well. I wish they could just score a little more. A 2-1 win in Utah is, they could do better, right? So I don't know. You let me know. I'll talk to you soon. Let's go, Devils.
Great goals! We love the show! Let's talk about the Devils you know! Tdyk, Jasper, Nico, Tdyk, Connor, Ollie, James, Sachi, Jasper, Nico, Tdyk, Connor, Ollie, Let's fucking go! Let's go! You suck! Woo! You suck!